You usually don't think twice about what's on your plate, but would you if you knew what kind of weird processes it went through to get there? From sweet fruit snacks colored with dangerous petroleum sorts of chemicals to suspiciously delicious cheese slices, these everyday staples are hiding truths that just disturb you to the core. So join us as we uncover the 15 U.S. products you'll never eat again once you know how they're made, okay? Let's start this with something we all love. Number 15. Processed turkey deli slices. Now, by love, I mean the kind that only comes with biting into a solid turkey sandwich. But don't be Elon Musk. You might think you're sinking your teeth into a slice of real turkey breast, but that's not what's going on here. Processed turkey deli slices may look like neat, even cuts of actual real meat, but the truth behind them might just make you drop that sandwich for good. These aren't sliced from a roasted bird. They're made from a blended mix of turkey leftovers, pumped full of salty, sugary brine loaded with preservatives. That mush is then molded into a loaf and sliced to mimic the look of fresh meat. The brine often contains sodium phosphate, which is basically a chemical that keeps the meat moist and tasty long past its natural life. But too much phosphate is tied to kidney damage and heart problems. And if you add in all that sugar and salt, what you've got is a lab-built slab pretending to be lunch, just like artificial meat. Number 14. Canned topping cream. Now, this is not as bad as turkey slices, but it's much worse. Canned topping cream might look fluffy, fun, and festive, but what's hiding inside that can isn't just cream and sugar. Those sweet clouds you swirl over cocoa or pile onto pie are filled with synthetic stabilizers, chemical emulsifiers, and gas propellants. One of the main ones is nitrous oxide. Yep, the same stuff used at the dentist and in race cars. It pushes the cream out and gives it that whipped, airy feel. But to keep it from separating or spoiling on the shelf, manufacturers also add things like mono and diglycerides, artificial thickeners, and food-grade gums. These keep the shape, sure, but they also strip away any real dairy innocence. It might look like cream, but it's more chemistry than kitchen. If you really love your life and the one you love, it's best to stay away from this sweet death. Number 13. Frozen processed meatballs. They look hearty and homemade, but these meatballs are usually anything but. Most brands are cranked out in factories using mechanically separated meat, which is a pinkish paste created by pressure blasting every last shred off animal bones. That slurry is then mixed with soy protein, textured fillers, breadcrumbs, and chemical binders to keep it all stuck together. And to make sure it tastes like something, manufacturers load it up with salt, artificial flavors, and a long list of preservatives. So why go through all that effort? Because it's cheap, consistent, and easy to mass produce, even if the final product barely looks like real meat. You toss them in the oven thinking it's a quick, no-fuss dinner, but what you're actually serving is a heavily processed mashup of scraps and lab-made tricks. Still, feel great about dropping those into your spaghetti? Number 12. Canned chicken. It's quick, it's easy, and honestly, it's kind of unsettling. Canned chicken might seem like a convenient protein fix, but once you know how it's made, you might think thrice before cracking that lid. For starters, the meat is usually shredded, soaked in broth, and sealed inside cans lined with BPA-based plastic. Bisphenol A is a chemical used in food can linings. This nasty stuff has been linked to hormonal disruption and long-term health concerns. But it's not just the can that's questionable. The chicken itself is pre-cooked and then packed in a salty, preservative-heavy liquid to keep it from spoiling. It's often made from cheaper, lower-quality cuts. And since the meat sits inside those cans for months, or even years, the flavor and texture are chemically preserved, not naturally maintained. It might save time in the kitchen, but if your ingredient list sounds like a science lab formula, that shortcut could cost your gut more than you bargained for. It's a slow death. Number 11. American cheese slices. Melt it on a burger and layer it into a sandwich. But just know that glossy orange slice isn't cheese. American cheese might look creamy and satisfying, but it's actually a hyper-processed blend made from milk leftovers, emulsifying salts, and modified food starches. It often starts with discarded cheese bits, sometimes even whey and powdered milk, which are ground up, reheated, and chemically altered to create that signature melt and stretch. And that bold orange color is totally artificial, made with food dyes designed to imitate cheesiness. Legally, it can't even be called cheese. The correct term is pasteurized processed cheese product. That's right. There isn't enough real dairy in it to meet the standard. It plays the role of cheese well enough, until you flip the package and read the ingredients. What you're actually eating isn't from a dairy farm. It's a lab-built food imposter designed to feel like cheese without being anywhere close. Number 10. Fruit snacks. Well, we say just one thing. Don't let the word fruit fool you. These chewy little snacks are more chemical concoction than anything remotely grown on a tree. Fruit snacks are often sold as a lunchbox-friendly way to sneak fruit into your kid's day, but in reality, there's barely a trace of actual fruit inside. What you're mostly chewing is a thick dose of corn syrup, and lots of it. Add in artificial flavorings, synthetic dyes, and gelatin to get that bouncy, gummy bite. Those vibrant colors, like red 40, yellow 5, and blue 1, are petroleum-based dyes that have raised red flags for potential behavioral effects in children and are even banned in some countries. And that fruit flavor you think you're tasting is usually a lab-made ester designed to mimic the real thing. So, are fruit snacks just candy wearing a health halo? Well, guys, the nutrition label doesn't lie. Number 9. Flavored instant rice. It cooks in minutes and tastes rich and savory, but flavored instant rice has more chemical formula than actual food. Those seasoning packets are stuffed with artificial flavors, dehydrated oils, and sodium-heavy powders. That buttery or cheesy taste? It's not coming from real butter or cheese. It's a synthetic blend of lab-made ingredients crafted to resemble real flavor. To keep it smooth and shelf-stable, manufacturers mix in anti-caking agents and preservatives. The rice itself is pre-cooked and then dehydrated, which strips away most of the natural nutrients and fiber. But here's the latest gut punch. New research has found microplastics in instant rice, raising fresh concerns about what else might be hiding in every bite. What you're left with is a highly processed, artificially flavored carb bomb, with the bonus threat of possible plastic contamination. Number 8. Shelf-stable salsa. It's zesty, colorful, and lasts forever in your pantry. But shelf-stable salsa isn't the fresh dip it claims to be. Unlike the kind you'd make yourself using ripe tomatoes and chopped cilantro, most jarred salsas begin with tomato paste, not whole tomatoes. Add dehydrated onions, artificial flavors, and thickening agents, and you've got a mixture that hardly resembles anything homemade. To prevent spoilage, manufacturers include preservatives like sodium benzoate, an ingredient you'd never keep in your kitchen. The salsa is then heat processed and sealed to last on shelves for months, which also strips away most of its natural texture and brightness. Still, calling it fresh salsa? Then why does it outlive everything in your fridge? Well, sure, it's super convenient. But once you realize how much it's been altered to survive on a store shelf, that jar starts to lose its appeal. What looks like a simple topping turns out to be a long-lasting science project. Number 7. Boxed mac and cheese powder. It's iconic comfort food. It's perfect for busy nights or picky eaters. But that glowing orange cheese powder has more in common with a chemistry set than actual cheddar. The mix you stir into boxed mac and cheese isn't just dehydrated dairy. It's a cocktail of food dyes like yellow 5 and yellow 6, artificial flavors, anti-caking agents, and emulsifiers, all engineered to fake the creamy texture and bold color of real cheese. And yeah, you've noticed how mac and cheese thickens as it sits? That's not from cheese. It's from binders doing their job. In truth, there's very little actual cheese in there. Some versions even include things like sodium phosphate and silicon dioxide, stuff you'd never touch if you were making it from scratch. These additives help it cook faster, stay smooth, and last forever on the shelf. But at what cost? That nostalgic flavor might hit, but knowing what's behind it? Now, that might change everything. Number 6. Flavored oatmeal packets. They look like a wholesome way to start your day, warm, fast, and easy. But those little flavored oatmeal packets are not as clean as they seem. Sure, oats are the main ingredient, but that's where the health halo ends. Most of these packets are crammed with artificial flavors, colorants, and more sugar than you'd find in some candy bars. And not just natural sugars, we're talking processed sweeteners, corn syrup solids, and fake fruit flavoring that rarely comes near a real apple or berry. To make it worse, some brands throw in preservatives and emulsifiers to prevent the texture from turning into a paste after months in your cupboard. What you're actually eating is a pre-engineered mix built more for shelf life than nutrition. All those marketing promotions you see on TV about heart-healthy oats, it kind of gets drowned out when your breakfast is laced with additives and sugar bombs disguised as fruit. So opt for natural, and you'll be good. Number 5. Powdered mashed potatoes. They might save time, but what you're dishing out is a long way from your grandma's kitchen. These powdered spuds start as real potatoes. Sort of. They're cooked and then dehydrated into flakes or granules, stripping away much of their original texture, nutrients, and flavor. To bring them back to life with hot water or milk, food makers add a cocktail of preservatives, emulsifiers, and artificial flavor boosters. You'll find ingredients like mono and diglycerides for that smooth texture, and sulfites, used to extend shelf life but known to cause allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. What you end up with is a fluffy side that looks homemade, but is far more processed than you'd expect from something so simple. It's convenient, but if you were mashing potatoes from scratch, you'd never reach for a lab-made additive. That creamy, comforting bowl is more of a chemistry experiment than a wholesome dish, even if it tastes close enough. Number 4. Toaster pastries. They pop out warm, sweet, and ready to devour, but toaster pastries are basically sugar bombs hiding under a thin frosting veil. These breakfast favorites are stacked with refined sugar, corn syrup, and synthetic food dyes, including notorious ones like Red 40 and Blue 1. That fruity center, usually a sugary gel thickened with chemicals and flavored artificially, with only trace amounts, if any, of real fruit involved. The crust is made from enriched flour and packed with hydrogenated oils, emulsifiers, and preservatives, all to keep them shelf-stable for months. Some versions even use BHT, a synthetic preservative banned in parts of Europe, just to stretch their shelf life. Is that really breakfast, or just dessert in disguise? Because when you break it down nutritionally, it's closer to a frosted cookie than anything resembling morning fuel. It's sweet, it's easy, it's fast. But once you know what's in it, toaster pastry hits a little differently. Number 3, fruit-flavored syrups. Whether it's for pancakes, iced drinks, or desserts, fruit-flavored syrups are everywhere. But what most people don't know is that there's hardly any actual fruit in them. These colored syrups are mostly made from high-fructose corn syrup, artificial fruit esters, and synthetic food dyes. That strawberry or blueberry taste is made in a lab using chemical compounds designed to mimic the scent and flavor of real fruit, without including a single berry. And those bold colors, usually Red 40, Yellow 6, or Blue 1, petroleum-derived dyes that have been restricted or banned in multiple countries over health concerns. The sugar level is sky-high, too, often matching or exceeding that of soda. Thanks to added preservatives and thickeners, these syrups can sit in your pantry practically forever without spoiling. Before you swirl that syrup into your latte or drizzle it over waffles, ask yourself, is this really fruit, or just a chemical cocktail in disguise? Number 2, bagged pre-washed salad mixes. Pre-washed, ready to eat, and super convenient. But there's more happening inside that salad bag than you might expect. Most people assume these greens are a healthy, time-saving option. What they don't realize is they're often rinsed in a chlorine-based solution, not just plain water. That wash is designed to kill bacteria and extend shelf life, but it also leaves behind chemical residues that some experts say can irritate sensitive digestive systems. And it doesn't end there. To keep those greens looking fresh for weeks, the bags are sealed in nitrogen-heavy environments, a process called modified atmosphere packaging. Sure, it's high-tech, but it creates a false sense of freshness. Those leaves might look crisp and clean, but bacteria can still thrive inside that sealed pouch, especially if it's been sitting on the shelf too long. So while it may seem like a smart shortcut, That convenient salad might not be as clean or fresh as it looks. Number 1. Artificial maple syrup. Think you're drizzling pure maple goodness over your pancakes? Well, not even close. Most store-bought maple syrups have never even seen a tree. Instead, they're made almost entirely from high-fructose corn syrup and a dash of artificial flavoring. That's right, 0% actual maple. To fake the rich, earthy taste of the real stuff, manufacturers throw in caramel coloring, cellulose gum for thickness, and synthetic maple esters to round out the flavor. What you're pouring is a sticky, sugary imitation dressed up in a fancy bottle. Even worse, high-fructose corn syrup has been linked to obesity, liver strain, and metabolic issues when consumed regularly, and we're out here dumping it on waffles like it's harmless. Real maple syrup comes from tapped trees, then slowly boiled down into a mineral-rich, naturally sweet syrup. But it's expensive. That's why the cheap artificial version keeps flying off the shelves. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.